In this video, I'm going to show you what to do with the last few cards of information resources, or what not to do. So I've referred to these in the few examples that I've given about bibliography, imagery, and cartography, but now I'm going to give you a few more details for each of these. So firstly, for URLs. So this card, you should fill in if the information resource was accessed online or has a website that is directly relevant to, or perhaps offers further information to the information resource. So this one you can fill in addition to the previous one. So for example, I have a book which I've accessed directly online. I filled in the bibliography card for this, and now I should really enter the URL. So the way to do this is to type in the website here, or the web address. It's really best to avoid copy pasting, to avoid getting the makeup with it. This can interfere with the database. Sometimes they can be quite lengthy, of course, URLs, in which case I would recommend making sure to paste only the text and no additional makeup or anything. So you can choose different paste options sometimes, but really it's best to type if you can. Then you should enter the access date as well, so the date you've last accessed this resource, and then click on add. You can repeat this if you have multiple URLs. The location you can fill in, the location card you can fill in if you have a location for your information resource. This can really be very useful as it helps finding the resource if people are using the map or location search. And when you have a photograph, as was discussed in that video, you should really always do this. Some resources are not specifically linked to any geographically defined area and are more general. So you can have a general guidebook or a map that covers a really large area, something like this. In this case, the location would be not applicable really, so you would just leave this card blank. The way to do this is explained in detail in tutorial 5 and in the accompanying video for that, so the geometries tutorial. So please refer to that one to know how to do this exactly. It's the same here. So you can see the same, well, very similar fields here. You can add the geometry using this one. So I'm not going to go into this further now, just as an extra remark. And again, you can refer to the photographies video for that, but you can add the location of the photographed object, but you can also, in some cases, it can be more relevant to add the location of the photographer, in which case, please do add a comment in additional information to this extent. The file upload, this card is also optional, and in fact in many cases you are not allowed to add a file to an information resource because of copyright. But in some cases, especially for example for photographs that you've taken yourself, it can be very useful for everyone if you upload the actual photograph so people can see this. To do this, you can simply click here on select the files and select the file from your computer and add it here. It says here the maximum size of a single file is 200 megabytes. That this is true, but we really recommend that you keep it below even 1 megabyte and at most really 3 to 4 megabytes, because otherwise the server will fill up very quickly and it all becomes more slow and these things. Also, it says you can upload as many documents as you wish. This is true database-wise, except that, of course, you have indicated in the imagery tab, for example, a specific number, a specific photo, and therefore you should only upload the photo that this information resource refers to and not any others, because each photo will have its own catalog ID, for example. Right, so while this is possible to do technically, you should still avoid it normally. Then we have the additional information, and this card is optional, and we don't normally use it and would discourage free text information in general. because the whole reason behind the database is that we have this controlled vocabulary that we can search and do analysis on and so on. But in some cases this is relevant, like when you have a photograph, you probably want to and probably should add the direction it's facing, or as I said before, if the location is that of the photographer rather than the photographed object or feature, you should add this as well. So in some cases this can be useful and relevant to fill in. And just type here, right, to do this. And then click on Add. Finally, in the Related Resources tab, this is interesting to see. You see, if I haven't added something, it turns yellow. So I know that I haven't actually clicked on Add. It's important to know. But now to the Related Resources tab or card. Here you can add all the relevant resources, and you should add them. So, because every information resource should really be linked to at least one heritage place, built component, geoarchaeology, or detailed condition assessment. As I said in the introduction of information resources, the primary purpose of information resources is to record what specific sources have been used in the creation of records in the EMINA database. So if an information resource has not been used to contribute to one of these, you should normally not enter it. I mean, there are exceptions, as I said, like photographs, aerial photographs, covering larger areas, and they will still be a useful resource. But even then, they should really, at least eventually, be linked to heritage places. So, therefore, you should normally do this, but it is possible to make the relation from the heritage place or the other resource. So you can do this the other way around. You can choose which is the best one as long as you don't forget to do it. The way to do it is straightforward and is discussed in more detail in the Related Resources video. But essentially, you look up what the number or person or anything is, and you start typing it in. So if I'm relating to a heritage place, I start typing in the number, and this will then appear, and I could click on it. And in this case, I've just typed in a random number, so I'm not going to click on it, but you could click on it, and this would add the relation. If I have a relation here, I can click on this to edit it. But again, there's more detail in the Related Resources tutorial, which I would refer you to for that. So this is everything for the information resources. There is more information in the PDF. There are more details there. So if there's anything you've been missing in the videos, please check that document to see if it's over there.